Fallout is known for having some weird and wacky side quests. From killing fire-breathing ants to helping a knockoff Elvis Presley to even helping cultist ghouls take flight to space. Fallout, to say the least, is no stranger to, well, strange side quests. It of course can also do more normal side quests as well, such as helping small factions gain and control areas of lands they want to, and helping small factions in general have more influences over places such as the Commonwealth, Mojave, and Capital Wasteland. Then of course you have your average quest of anything, helping people get things that they need. Yes, I'm talking about fetch quests.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Or even just quests where the player has to investigate an area of land on the map. However, there is one Fallout game that I think handles side quests significantly less well than all the others. That Fallout, of course, being Fallout 4. And in today's video, I want to tell you why and how I think this is the case. Before I continue with this video, however, I would ask that you all like and subscribe to the channel with the bell notification on to help boost my video into the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Most Fallout games have side quests very early on. Fallout 4 is actually no different, with the first, or at least most likely first side quest being When Freedom Calls. Now, I'm betting that many of you didn't even know that this was actually classed as a side quest, and to be fair, it's more of a main quest than anything, as the game kind of forces you to do it in order to get the real next main quest, which is to have the player have instructions to go to Diamond City. Either way, it's not good, as if you don't count this as a side quest, then Fallout 4 does not in fact have a starting side quest. So for the sake of this video, let's actually count it as a side quest, and on the wiki it counts it as a side quest, so yeah. This quest has the player help the Minutemen, a new faction in the game. Straight off the bat, this quest presents itself as a serious quest, a serious one. In my opinion, there are three different types of side quests in Fallout: wacky and weird, reward-based quests, or story and lore-based quests. This quest is clearly supposed to be taken seriously, as the tone feels desperate to save the Minutemen, soldiers and survivors trapped inside the building, being pinned down by what we can only assume at the time is raiders.
Hey, up here, on the balcony. I got a group of settlers inside. The raiders are almost to the door. Grab that laser musket and help us, please.
The quest straight off the bat is made less interesting in how the player can approach it. The quest clearly shows a team of soldiers, the Minutemen, pinned down, protecting survivors, or well, in this case just one Minuteman, stuck inside a building, pinned down by raiders outside. Your options with this quest are to help the soldiers, the Minutemen inside the building, fight back against the raiders, help the raiders, or to simply walk by and let the events occur. Except I wasn't quite being truthful there. This is actually not the case for this quest. For this quest, instead, you were given just one option. That option being help the Minutemen, or, well, nothing. There's no other option to side with the raiders or even talk to any of them for that matter. And if you leave, well, nothing happens. The Minutemen defending the building aren't overrun by the raiders, nor do they take down the raiders on their own. Instead, the quest basically just pauses, stops dead in its tracks, waiting for the player to come back so that Preston and his Minutemen or his survivors can start shooting and fighting again the raiders, and you can help. No one dies if you leave. There's actually no consequences if you just get up and go. There's no reason why you shouldn't. I guess the both of them didn't hate each other that much because they're very willing to just stop killing each other until the player comes back. Or at least they're very willing to stop killing each other indefinitely if the player decides to play the game for like another 12 hours, complete the main quest, and then never come back. This is really a shame, and it could have been easily fixed by adding, I don't know, a faction like the Gunners here, who have a whole ass history with the Minutemen, and also have a little bit more of a reason to be, you know, gunning them down so hard like this, and tracking them down so hard like this. They really have it out for the Minutemen in lore, but I guess they didn't want to place them here for some reason. This would have been so cool. Could you imagine if you could have sided with the Gunners and wipe out the Minutemen, or vice versa in in this situation, setting up actual implications and consequences for both the main game's faction stories and also the factions that you decide to side with or not side with during this event. Imagine you were able to side with the Gunners, wipe out the Minutemen, and start a quest line working for or with the Gunners, and vice versa with the Minutemen. Maybe not wiping out each faction, but creating very hostile ties. I go into this in a lot more detail in my very old and dated Gunners video on why the Gunners should have been a 5th faction to Fallout 4, where I talk about how this questline specifically could have been perfect to setting up a Gunners main questline where the Minutemen rebuild themselves on their own with a constant rivalry with the Gunners, creating a beautiful questline that we could have had, but sadly we never really got. And you may be wondering how I came up with this great and beautiful idea. Well, I didn't actually come up with it at all. I just took it from Fallout New Vegas' first major quest, which is set up in a very similar kind of way to this one. Good Springs, the spawn town of the player in Fallout New Vegas, is facing threats from a group of thugs called the Powder Gangers. You as the player can either help the people of Good Springs fight off the Powder Gangers, or you can side with the Powder Gangers. If you side with the people of Good Springs, you can get a good reputation with them, and therefore the town will become independent and free from fear of the Powder Gangers. If you side with the Powder Gangers themselves, you get instant access to a lot of areas in the game that would simply be shut off to the player or would have hostile encounters with the player. This time, by siding with the Powder Gangers, the player is able to go into these areas, do deals with the Powder Gangers, and take more quests from them. Each side to this quest is very interesting and has their own outcomes. They both also have great reasons for picking them. Despite the Powder Gangers option clearly being the more hostile, violent, and worser option, it does have its pros. This could have been perfect for Fallout 4, but sadly, they just didn't do it. The option to play the bad guy role here and join the Powder Gangers is the same reason this quest is so fun, as there is a lot of replayability through that means. Both versions of the quest have their positives and negative consequences to the player, choosing either or either side. This is just one way that Fallout 4's When Freedom Calls quest could have been improved. Now, once you're forced into helping the Minutemen, sadly the quest does not actually get any better, as if you continue, you will be instructed to clear out the rest of the raiders that have apparently come out of nowhere to reinforce the original ones that you just killed. You do this by using power armor and a torrent off of a crashed vertibird. Now, there are so many problems with the two things that I just said. At this point in the game, most of the players are not over level 2. This means power scaling for the minigun has been scaled back, as Bethesda probably realized that the players would be too powerful for early level enemies and stages of the game with the full power and might of a minigun at their hands. So instead, they completely power scaled the gun back, making it feel useless against actual more powerful enemies that the game's gun was clearly designed for and was used in other Fallouts for. In other Fallouts, you don't normally get incredibly powerful guns unless you take on an incredibly powerful enemy, are incredibly deep through the game's story or far into the game itself. That way the player can level up and get the same equipment his enemies will be facing, putting him on a 50-50 scale with the enemies, the quests, and the overall environment of the game. In Fallout 4, you're given the full scale of a minigun straight away, meaning the devs had to power it back. Power armor, on the other hand, is not scaled back at all. In nearly every single other Fallout game, power armor was supposed to be something hard to obtain, or something you would only get later on in the game when you've actually got far through the game and meet enemies or allies with that sort of equipment. This very first side quest gives you full access to a power armor suit. Not to mention a Deathclaw just decides to pop out from under the ground and attack the player. This is a really cool moment in theory. But once again, in order for the player to be able to kill the Deathclaw with their weak weapons, with their weak minigun, as Bethesda have of course scaled it back so that they can fight the raiders, the Deathclaw itself is hugely scaled back, making it far more weaker in the late game than previous incarnations of the beast. Compare this with nearly any other Fallout's first side quest, and the player does, and of course should, feel vulnerable, having little supplies in terms of both medical equipment and also weaponry, making the player's choice to even take the quest even more important, as they may have to weigh up the odds on whether they think they will be able to get enough out of the quest for it to be worth it. Whereas this first side quest just gives you the win on a silver plate, and in doing so makes power armor infinitely less rare, the minigun 10 times weaker, and even death claws heavily scaled back when compared to any other Fallout game. It also just makes the illusion of this incredibly high scale beast that you only fight at the end point or towards the back end of the game very, very false, and feel very, very weak as you now fight this beast at the very start of the game, and he doesn't get any harder throughout the game. If you fight a Deathclaw in the glowing sea, it's not really much harder than fighting one here, which is very sad to see. And in fact, it's kind of the same throughout the whole of the game. The only time a Deathclaw encounter is a little bit tricky is in a specific quest designed around a Deathclaw being trapped in a building, which, you know, kind of actively goes against you, which is why it's hard. This quest single-handedly makes power armor easy to get, the minigun so much worse in both performance and from an aesthetic and lore perspective, and Deathclaw's pushovers. This is what is wrong with Fallout 4's story-based side quests, and other Fallouts prove how much better theirs were. Now that we have looked at Fallout 4's failure to do serious quests, I now want to take a look at how they handle more silly and wacky side quests. Side quests with a more weird and wacky tone have been in Fallout for a long time. You see, Fallout has always been great at creating strange and oftentimes comedic side quests for the player to enjoy, and in Fallout 4, it's kind of no different. However, the difference is that while Fallout 4's side quests may still be funny, they do not work like Fallout 3's and Fallout New Vegas' side quests before them, and, for that matter, many of the original Fallout's funny side quests before them. Even though there is a larger amount of funny side quests in Fallout 4, and they are a lot more dramatic than the ones in previous Fallouts, they still fail in several different ways. There are many reasons for this, but let's first start by having a look at one of Fallout 4's funny side quests. This quest involves the player finding a little ghoul child called Billy stuck in a fridge. We know that this quest is a wacky and funny comedic quest from how it starts, and well, you've literally just found a kid in a fridge, so if you're thinking you're getting A-tier storytelling and world development, I think maybe you should go somewhere else.
I can hear you. Get me out of this thing.
Is someone in there?
Let me out.
Who are you?
My name is Billy. Please. I've been trapped in here for so long.
You then can either help Billy find his parents, or you can sell him to the gunners into slavery. I cannot say that without laughing. That is just wild. If you sell Billy, then the quest simply ends there. And anytime you come back, you can kill the gunner who you sold Billy to, and then continue the quest in looking for his parents. There's not much substance here, but at least it does give you two options, a good one or a bad one. This is one of the only times in Fallout 4 where you can actually be a bad person, an evil character. If you decide to kill the slaver and get him back, you can tell him you were wrong and you were sorry, in which for the rest of the quest he'll have this really weird, like, half very thankful you're helping him tone, and then half I hate you tone. Kind of makes sense considering he was sold into slavery, but the dialogue also just feels like it was like cut and janked together if you do this. If you help him from the start find his parents, then you will find them located in the exact same location that they were over 200 years ago in the family home when the bombs dropped. Now, that is hilarious. How do you find them? Well, Billy knows, of course, where his home was, and it's literally around the corner from where you are, so the quest doesn't actually take that long. Once you do this, the gunners will appear outside Billy's home, once you've given Billy to his mother and father, who are both still alive, but ghoulified. The gunners now will demand that you not just give Billy up into slavery, but you also give his entire family into slavery for free. Now, there are a couple options here in terms of what you can do. If you give in to them, then they literally just take the entire family into slavery, and the quest once again ends there.
You can have them. Why should I risk my life?
All right, boys. Let's collect our new workers. Stranger, you can just move along.
You coward. I hope the rats burn your eyes out.
Smart move not going up against us.
If you don't, then well, you can fight the gunners in a big battle where you shooty bang bang literally everyone. That was weird script writing. Don't know why I did that. And Billy gets to stay with his family by the end of it. There are also actually some really cool alternatives to how you can end the quest. If you have high enough charisma, then you can actually convince the gunners that no one's in the house and that it's abandoned.
The house is empty. Looks like they left in a hurry.
God damn it! All right, boys, we're heading south. Double time!
Shh! Everybody be quiet.
Or you can just save log like a complete scumbag, which is what everyone does, into the dialogue, and just wait until you get one that actually allows you to progress, but hey ho. Now, on paper, this all sounds fine. It sounds like a fine quest. And don't get me wrong, it's an okay quest. It's fine. It's inoffensive. But there's a lot of problems with this quest. For example, if we take a look at the quest from a time point of view, this quest makes little sense. So you're telling me that Billy's been stuck in a fridge for 200 years now, and not a single person has found him? Not gunners, not raiders, not super mutants, not even fucking dogs? No one's found him at all? He was screaming when we found him. Am I also the only one who thought that ghouls actually had to eat and drink? I mean, I know I'm wrong. Don't like type up a storm in the comments saying you're actually wrong. I know I'm wrong, but I was always under the assumption they had to eat and drink, but that's fair. Surely his legs should not be working though. He gets out of the fridge and he's like, oh, my legs are stiff. He's been in a fridge for 200 years. Surely he would have died of asphyxiation or something, right? Like no? Or at least someone would have found him. I think the thing that makes least sense to me is that Billy's parents are not only in the exact same place they were 200 years ago, which means they haven't moved in the last 200 years. From the bombs dropping to now, they haven't moved. But not only that, they're about 10 minutes away from Billy's actual location. So you're telling me that they didn't even try to go and find him? They just hoped that he would find the house? He's 10. How is he gonna ever find the house? Surely they would have went looking for him. And if they did go looking for him, then they did a fucking terrible job, because he's 10 minutes down the road. I mean, maybe they couldn't go looking for him because they're literally situated next to the Gunners HQ of all places, which makes no sense. They're probably in one of the worst places to set up a house ever in the Commonwealth. They are in a swamp next to the Gunners HQ. How have they survived so long? But you're telling me that they only now have had problems with Gunners, despite the fact that Gunners clearly view ghouls as below them and want to enslave them. But yes, now they have a problem with it. Now the Gunners are going to enslave you. They've been here 200 years, and the Gunners have been here for a decent amount of time. Huge settlement of Gunners, and they haven't shot them, killed them, or even tried to take them into slavery. Now, am I nitpicking this quest a little bit? Yes, I am. And yes, the quest itself is kind of cute, and it's inoffensive, like I said before. But it's this stuff, the context, the pure context of a funny quest, which sort of breaks that line between it being funny and also possible, and it just being stupid for the sake of being stupid. You have to have balance. And the hard reality is that the background information and context for this quest just doesn't add up or make any sense from a lore point of view. If we compare this form of a silly type of quest to a Fallout New Vegas one, then it will show us that we can both have a silly quest that both is silly, funny, comedic, chaotic, but also makes sense. Take the quest Wang Dong Atomics. Wang Dang Atomic? Wang Dang Atomic Tango. Wow, I really hope I've said that right. This quest has you help a bar worker or bartender or the owner of an establishment like a bar, which is also a brothel. The owner basically makes his profits by having sex workers and prostitutes at his bar. The owner may or may not be sexually attracted to robots.
You got force-fed. You did? Ha, damn! I've been looking for one of those for years. For my customers, I mean, I'm not into that kind of shit.
And he asks you to get him a robot-type escort for his bar, so that he can get more customers to his bar, as this bar relies on prostitution to make its profits. Now, the difference between this and the Fallout 4 side quest is that the context of this one makes it make sense. This bar relies on customers coming in for sex to make money. This is in a world where people see ghouls, super mutants on the daily, so it would make sense that people are into some weird shit. I mean, people kind of already are into robots now. So, and well, actually animals too, for that matter. But we'll just ignore that.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
This quest allows the player to chat up a freaky sex ghoul. I cannot believe I'm saying that. Oh wow, yeah.
Hey, who doesn't enjoy a little pinch and squeal every once in a while?
Take it up the ass from a robot.
Yes, sir. Vestal reporting for duty. Please assume the position.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck?
And also just talk to a normal gay bloke. Like, just genuinely normal guy, he's just gay.
I am honored they would consider me. I'll start immediately. Come on back if you have any interesting news.
This is the reason that this quest works, because it's both funny and hilarious, but it also makes sense in the context of what you're doing. What doesn't make sense is why Billy's parents haven't moved in 200 years, why no one's found Billy in 200 years, and why either of them are still alive, or why the Gunners haven't even tried to take in Billy or his family into slavery in the past 200 years. What does make sense is that you're doing all this freaky shit for this guy because he needs it for his sex brothel in a time where people are gonna be into some strange things because of the way of the world. Take another funny side quest from Fallout 4, Lost Voyage of the USS Constitution. And to be fair, this quest is very funny and it's very fun. It's my favorite silly one out of all of them in Fallout 4, but it does suffer from a lot of the same kind of problems as the Billy side quest. The USS Constitution and the beef they have with the raiders is interesting, or with the scavengers is interesting, but it's so flat, and there's only really one way you can go about solving the issue: killing either the robots and siding with the scavengers, or killing the scavengers and siding with the robots. Compare this to a quest with a joke faction like the Kings, and while their faction is clearly a parody of Elvis Presley, they have their own serious motives, and the quests you do with them can end in several different ways, whereas a lot of the quests in Fallout 4 only end in one or two ways, making them feel very boring and very bland. And this is a part of the problem with Fallout 4's silly jokey quests. They only have around one quest line and then end straight away, whereas in Fallout New Vegas you have multiple different threads within one joke quest, and it just makes it so much better. Think of all the mini factions in Fallout New Vegas. The Kings are one of them, and think how many interesting, funny, comedic and overall enjoyable quests you can do for the Kings. Most of these quests can end in completely different ways, and it's so fun. I actually really like this quest. I think it's a funny quest. I really enjoy it. I think the gameplay is fine, and I think overall Bethesda did a really good job with this. In fact, I especially love the ending, and I wouldn't change that for the world. I think it's hilarious.
Yes, yes. We did it! Victory at last! Helm reports we are a quarter fathom closer to the Atlantic. By my calculations, in a mere century we will take to the ocean. Well done.
But this is the problem once more. If you side with the robots, it's so much more in your favor to do so. If you side with the robots, you get funny dialogue, more the funny side of the quest, and it gets a hilarious ending. You also get weapons, supplies, lots of caps. Whereas if you side with the scavengers, it's so obvious that you're doing the wrong thing. And then to kick it all off, the game literally tells you you've done the wrong thing, because if you side with the scavengers, they just betray you in the end, which not only to me makes little to no sense, but it also is just so disappointing, as then there's really no reason to go with the scavengers at all. Overall, I actually like this quest, but once again, it's outdone by the funny, jokey quests in other games like Fallout New Vegas, because they just have more threads to them, and there's more ways to end them, and they make more sense from a lore point of view. Now, to end this video off, the last thing I want to talk about and touch on is Fallout 4's fetch quests. Fallout, and well, all Bethesda games for that matter, on the whole, are known for their fetch quests. Quests that involve the player going somewhere to get something for someone. These types of quests are in like every single Bethesda game ever, and I'm not joking, they are literally everywhere, and for that matter they're actually in most RPGs ever. And these sorts of quests are in most RPGs because they're very simple. The player has to go somewhere, get something for someone. On the way they'll encounter some sort of problem, whether it be parkour, a puzzle to solve, or enemies to fight. They'll deal with the problem, they'll get the item they need, they'll bring it back to the NPC or whatever place they need to bring it to, and they'll get some sort of reward, often being in-game currency from the game. It's an easy quest for the player to do, and it's rewarding very quickly. The other type of quest I want to take a look at is the explore type of quest. These type of quests are given to the player, and it will be investigate this area or explore this area. It's basically an easy way for the game devs to get the player to explore or go out to a certain area that they want to. They're basically in the same branch of quests, so that's why I've placed them together. So let's first start with fetch quests. Fetch quests are usually easy easy quests for the player, where they go and get something for someone in exchange for in-game currency, in this case, caps, like I said before. Now, to stop the quest being completely boring, fetch quests are normally a good way to show off some cool lore to the player about the game's world and environment and story in little ways. Now, does Fallout 4 have them? Yes. Are they good? Well, actually, they're okay. Some of them are better than others, but for the most part, they're fine. However, some of them do feel as though they suffer from the make no sense syndrome that we've been seeing with a lot of the other quests in Fallout 4. For example, one of the more cooler but also dumb fetch quests is where the player meets a Chinese submarine captain who needs help getting something in order for him to leave on his submarine. Once again, we have our recurring theme. This is just a quest that makes so little sense from a lore point of view. This man has been sat in a submarine for 210 years. Why has he not left his submarine to go look for help?
Have you been here for 200 years?
Ah, it has been that long? 是的, yes. I suppose it has.
I get it. At the bottom of the submarine, all of his crewmates have been turned into crazy ghouls, so he probably doesn't want to face the reality that his friends and his crewmates are all dead and in pain and are going to eat him alive. That's why he doesn't go down to the reactor. I get that. However, at the same time, you would think he would at least leave his submarine to go get, help, or at least attempt to. There are things he asks you to get on the surface, so you think he would actually go out and either find them himself, or at least ask for help. The other thing that makes no sense is 210 years. I get the technology is improved in the Fallout universe. I don't think it's improved so much that the fucking submarine wouldn't explode, implode, or sink. It's been 210 years. How is that thing still activating? How is that thing still active? And how is it still able to support human life for that long? I don't know. I mean, come on. Now, to be fair, Fallout 4's fetch quests are for the most part fine. In fact, there are some quite cool ones, like the Silver Shroud quests, which are basically, granted, glorified fetch quests. However, they are really cool lore, as it has the player go around and collect the Silver Shroud's equipment, costume, and weapons so that you can fight crime in Good Neighbor, which is actually really fun. The quest even goes on quite far. At one point, you even having to rescue your radio guy and save him, and then you get to decide whether you want to continue being the Shroud or not. It's a really cool quest, and though it stems all from a fetch quest, it's still really great, and it's a great addition to the game. Or, my personal favorite, the quest where you have to grab paint for a dude so you can paint Diamond City's walls. Now, this sounds very generic. It sounds like your average fetch quest, but trust me, this is my favorite fetch quest for a reason. If you take this quest, you discover that raiders have been using the paint shop to lead people inside the building and then ambush them, kill them, and take their stuff. You can even find piles of bodies in the building, which I really love. It's a really cool detail which shows that the raiders have been doing this to multiple people and you're just lucky enough to get out of their scheme. I love details like this in games, as it really adds to the lore of the Fallout universe and the world of the game you're playing. And also, it's a bloody hard fight. I mean, you're lured into the building by some damsel in distress per se, and then you're greeted with this extremely hard fight, all for some fucking paint.
Hey there.
And then it even lets you decide what color you want to paint the wall by picking up the particular colored paint can you want for the wall's colors. You don't actually have to paint it green. You know what? Now that I think about it, fetch quests in Fallout 4, while they have their problems, they're overall pretty fine, and some of them are quite fun. But what about the quests where the player must explore an area or investigate an area? Well, they are fine in Fallout 4. Nothing special outside of the museum quest where you have to fight a Deathclaw inside a building, which is really fun, but other than that, all of the other ones are fine, inoffensible, and just okay quests. But I'm afraid I'm not done, because there is one more thing I must say about Fallout 4's side quests before I can wrap this video up. One more thing that needs to be addressed. That quest type being an explore/clear area type of quest. And the quests I am specifically talking about are...
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help. I'll mark it on your map. Go find out what they need. If you could use more
settlements supporting our cause.
Settlement quests. The Minutemen's settlement quests. Without a doubt, these are the worst quests in Fallout 4. They are annoying, long, and make little sense for what you're actually doing. The quests have the player help settlers by going into an area and clearing it out of enemies. Only issue with this is that the area is normally completely far away from the settlers, which makes little sense and seems completely and utterly ridiculous why they would be giving the settlers any issues. From there, the quests are really boring. You go to the area, you clear it out of the enemies, and you do that over and over and over again. Sometimes you even have to clear out the same area twice because the game forgets you've already cleared it. It's boring, it's repetitive, and from a lore point of view, it makes nearly no sense. I don't understand, why would these raiders or these ghouls be giving this settlement a problem when they have a problem literally right in front of them? Like, you'll have a settlement next to a raider outpost, but the raider outpost next to them is not giving any problem. No, it's the raider outpost literally 8 miles away. It's so annoying. It's such a dumb way to get the player to move through the map more and explore more of the map. It's so stupid. I cannot stand it. Compare this with Fallout New Vegas's vault quest, which would have the player investigate vaults. These quests are night and day in terms of both gameplay and story and lore elements, with New Vegas being very different, with each vault offering different lore and different gameplay, whereas Fallout 4's different raider groups are all the exact same gameplay experience, pretty much the exact same layout of base, and also the exact same lore. There is no lore with these settlement quests. You don't learn anything about the raiders you're killing, why they're picking on, who they're picking on. It's so blatant, it's so boring, and the settlement quests probably are the worst quests in Fallout 4. And that is why overall settlement quests suck. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. The time is currently 1:12 as I record this. Yeah, it's pretty late. I'm sorry the video was out late. Hopefully this video does well. Channel's not been doing great recently. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Leave a comment, like, subscribe down below, all of that. And I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe, guys, and peace.